Somehow, it's already been 4 years since Audi unveiled its first ever electric car, the e-tron, at a glitzy event in San Francisco, California. Since then, we've had 2 more electric Audis, Q4 e-tron and e-tron GT, both very good electric cars, I might add. But now it's time to update the original. And there was a problem with the original Audi e-tron, which they're looking to address with this new car. The name, because how does this e-tron thing work? Is it a prefix or a suffix? Is it a standalone thing like Madonna? Well, now we have our answer, because this is the new Audi 2 e-tron 2 electric. It's not called that, it's called the Q8 e-tron. And the key headlines, more efficiency and big range.
Like the Fully Charged show? Then you will love our 6 live shows being held around the world in 2023, starting with Sydney, Australia on March the 11th and 12th.
So what have we got on our hands here? Well, at a glance, you will be able to tell that we're looking at an evolution, not a revolution. Audi has always made a point with its electric cars to keep them familiar, to not overwhelm us with freakishly new design, but to keep things in line with the Audi family tree. And that is very much the case with this new Q8 e-tron. That's what it's called, the Q8 e-tron. The flagship, the biggest of the electric SUVs that we're going to see from Audi. By the way, in the future, the even numbers, 6, 8, 4, those are even numbers, will be the electric models, and the odd numbers will be the petrol ones. There you go, little fun factaroo for you. Does that make it less confusing? Sort of, except there is also a petrol Q8 currently, so no, but moving swiftly onwards. Now, the outgoing e-tron was a lovely thing. Exquisitely built, beautiful interior, very good looking, all the things you expect from Audi. But the electric vehicle hardware was nothing especially remarkable, and not especially outstanding compared to some of its subsequent rivals that have come along. The range was okay, the efficiency was not great. I do also feel the need to very quickly caveat that yes, this is the exact sort of car that I spend roughly half my life complaining about on Fully Charged. It's needlessly massive. I don't know why anyone would ever need a car this huge, and it doesn't sit on a bespoke electric vehicle architecture. And in truth, I do think Audi could have gone a little bit further with this new Q8. I'll explain what I mean by that in a moment. But let's remember that A, there are people that want to buy this sort of thing, and as long as that's the case, Audi is going to continue to serve that market. B, it's not really Audi's job to supply us with small, super cheap utilitarian vehicles, because that was never their job in the petrol days. And C, they sold 150,000 e-trons worldwide. 150,000 in 4 years. That is 150,000 less dirty diesel engines idling at traffic lights or outside school gates, literally poisoning us. I would call that a win. So that's enough caveating for the time being. Let's have a little look around the car. So let's take a little walk around the outside of the car and see what we can see. Now, the front end is where the most changes have happened aesthetically. The rest of the car does look quite similar to the outgoing e-tron, but I'm more interested in some of the aero tweaks that they've done in the exterior, so we're going to emphasize those. But design-wise, a few things of note at the front. We've got a new badge. Look, new Audi logo. It's flat now. This one on the front houses lots of sensors. The one on the back is actually more representative of the new Audi logo. It's black and white and flat, would be my concise summation of the 15 minutes presentation I had on the new logo. Very nice. New body colored grille, that's an option now on the Q8 e-tron. That's something you can get on the e-tron GT already, of course. I actually really like that. It's a great way of maintaining the Audi design language of the big old grille without, well, having an unnecessary big old grille. This is all functional cooling, by the way. There is a big battery underneath there. A big battery, so a lot of cooling is required. So we've got intake here, more intake here, and this one does 2 things actually. It sends cool air to the battery, but it also sends cool air underneath the car through a duct, increasing its aerodynamic properties. Let's see, what else have we got? The air curtains remain. These are functional. These send air sweeping across the side of the car, across the wheels, which of course are a key creator of turbulent air, thus reducing efficiency. So those are important, they actually work. Coming around the side, there's actually a really cool little aero feature that Audi are very proud of in this vicinity. It's not the gigantic 22-inch wheel, which does look very nice, but is not good aerodynamically speaking. What is good is this little flap here. This is something Audi calls a wheel spoiler, and this, combined with the air curtain, combined with some more aero-friendly wheels, really improves the turbulent air situation that you get from car wheels when they're rotating. Wheels are an aerodynamicist's nightmare. They ruin all of their good work. So things like this air curtain sending air sweeping across the side of the car, things like this little flap breaking up that air are going to make a really big difference. And it's part of the reason that this new Q8 e-tron has a slightly lower drag coefficient than its predecessor. Just a word on the wheels. I mean, it's the launch car. It's obviously got massive 22s, and they are absolutely beautiful, but there is actually 4 new wheel designs for this new Q8, and the other 3 are aero wheels, all of them, ranging from 19s all the way up to 22s. If you're childish like me and you are willing to reduce your range in favor of being cool. This whole area of the car just makes me giggle a little bit, this combination of clever, subtle aero features and massive 22-inch wheels. I'm reminded of the episode that we shot with Audi, actually, in their wind tunnel in Ingolstadt, when we spoke to some of their lead aerodynamicists, and they talked about this kind of ongoing battle between aerodynamics and design, which takes place in the creation of every single car. Well, you're witnessing it right now. The aero guys were like, we're going to make very clever curtains and flaps to reduce the drag coefficient. And then the designers were like, screw you, 22s. Moving around the back, well, not too much to write home about back here. It really is a familiar bottom. I do think that Audi's light bar is an especially good one. Did the e-tron start the light bar thing? I'm trying to think. It's one of the first electric cars I can remember that had one. Let me know in the comments. First electric car you remember with a light bar. Was it the e-tron? Anyway, it's still here. I like this little horizontal motif that remains from the old car. This having the S-line sporty pack. You also get a kind of bit of faux diffuserage down here, which looks quite mean and purposeful. It's a great looking car. Now then, let's get into some techie, nerdy goodness. I've got an exposed, naked Q8 e-tron behind me, and there's a few things of note. First of all, this is what a non-bespoke EV platform looks like. If we were looking at the platform of something like a Hyundai Ioniq 5, all of that gubbins would be flush with this floor in a sort of skateboard chassis, allowing for more room for you and your feet. Not the case with the Q8 e-tron as with its predecessor. We've got a lot of stuff protruding at the front, which means you're slightly limited in the amount of room that you're going to get inside. It is what it is. What we do have is all-wheel drive on all models. That's a standard Audi thing. It's sort of what you'd expect. You actually get 3 motors on the sports model, 2 at the back. And the motors are interesting. In fact, the motors, along with some of the aerodynamic tweaks, are where the Q8 gets its improved efficiency from. These are asynchronous motors, and what they've done is add a couple of extra coils to them. And to the best of my understanding, which I will candidly say is quite limited, what this does is create a stronger magnetic field, and the upshot is you're getting more power from the same amount of energy. The bottom line, the number that you really need to know, is that this drivetrain is about 6 or 7% more efficient than the one on the old e-tron. 6 or 7%, that's really quite something. That's actually quite impressive, and it's really good to see a legacy car maker like Audi refreshing one of their models and really focusing on improving efficiency, which, as we've said a million times in videos, is the magic key to making electric vehicles better. They have also done the old-fashioned way of increasing range, which is lumping in some extra battery, quite a lot more extra battery. In fact, this top spec model will get a 104 kilowatt hour usable battery capacity. The total battery, by the way, is 114 kilowatt hours. It's a big old battery. Now, you combine that with the increased efficiency, you have a maximum range figure of 370 miles. That is comfortably 100 miles more than you would get in the old e-tron. And by my very vague calculations, up to 370 miles, 104 kilowatt hours, that works out somewhere in the range of 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is not groundbreaking efficiency, but for a vehicle that weighs roughly as much as the 4 smallest moons of Jupiter combined, is quite impressive. Charging, let's have a little word on charging. Charging speed is up to 170 kilowatts, up from 150 on the old car. Again, not groundbreaking, but what Audi is very proud of is the charging curve. It gets up very quickly, it stays high for a longer time than most electric cars, and then tapers off later than most. That's in part thanks to that extra 10 kilowatt hours of redundancy in the battery. And what this means is, despite being 170 kilowatts, you can get from 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. Inside the Audi Q8 e-tron, we'll keep this bit nice and brief because the big news is that there is no news. This interior is almost identical to the outgoing e-tron. I have no issue with that whatsoever because it is one of, if not the most exquisite interiors of any electric car on sale today. Audi have always been amazing at this stuff, and this is a real standout selling point of this particular car. Just everything you touch feels amazing. There's a tactility to every little button and knob. We've got physical buttons on the wheel, praise the Lord. Even Mercedes have succumbed to the plague of haptic touch buttons on the wheel. Audi, smart enough to avoid those. We've got some beautiful and responsive touch screens. I'm slightly clutching at straws because there's not much else. There's some new stitching, that's very nice. That's really all I have to say about this interior. Absolutely beautiful, extremely nice to touch and feel. I think maybe only Polestar can give Audi a run for their money as far as electric vehicle interiors. One complaint, just one complaint, if I may. I'm gonna have to turn the car on to lodge this complaint. Ooh. It's nice, isn't it? These camera wing mirrors, I'm assuming that they will be an optional extra as they were on the outgoing e-tron. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. For one, the stalks really protrude beyond the width of the car, which means if you have an interaction with a bollard, it's going to be unbelievably expensive. But more than that, the screens inside are just not angled especially well and are a weird shape and quite hard to see. I would go without those. That's my one whinge in here. Backseat jack test. As you can see, one jack fits extremely well back here. You'd bloody hope so. It's 4.9 meters long, this thing. But no, great room, great amount of room. This seat is way back in my driving position. Plenty of headroom in this standard Q8 e-tron. I imagine you're going to lose a couple of inches in the Sportback. And look at this, we've got an almost entirely flat floor. I don't fully understand the platform that this car is built on because it was first made for the e-tron, but they've also used it for some petrol variants. As I understand, it's kind of like a multi-energy platform, so you're not getting quite as much space in here as you would if it were full-blown bespoke used for electric cars only, but you do get a lot of space and a nice flat floor in the back, which is nice. Well now, here's a nice little treat to end the video on. Have a look at this, my friends, the new Audi Q8 e-tron Sportback. Ooh, that is a very good looking car. Wasn't sure about the old e-tron Sportback. It was a bit too nose heavy and it didn't quite look balanced. This one really does. Yeah, quite like that. Concluding thoughts then, well, pretty impressed, I have to say. Clearly the Q8 is not my personal cup of tea. It's enormous. The battery in this thing weighs more than some of my favorite electric micro cars. But then again, I'm not the target audience. And I think the target audience are going to love it because, well, it's an e-tron that just looks a bit better and has way more range. And I do see a really positive takeaway from this car. That's the fact that Audi, with its first ever EV model refresh, has focused on increasing range, but really prioritized increasing efficiency As we are always saying here at Fully Charged, efficiency is the key. It's how we're going to make electric cars better, lighter, smaller, more affordable, rangier. This is not small or light or affordable, but it is more efficient than its predecessor, and it's great to see the legacy car makers beginning to clock onto the fact that efficiency is where it's at. That is how you make your electric cars better. So there we go. Audi Q8 e-tron. Do let us know what you think of it in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have been, thank you for watching.